What's Gucci YouTube? It's your boy Black Uchiha 3 long face, skinny body. God don't agree why because I'm still working on that part. You already know we'll be back with some more Fireboy to anime manga content. Now before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, smash that like button, share the video with your friends. And let's get started with the discussion, man. Because man, it's a whole lot to talk about as you can see from the thumbnail. But yeah, let's get straight to the business. There's a lot of if, ands, or buts. Boruto chapter 55 in general, like overall, left us with, as a fan base, as an audience, things that went down with after the fight with Ishiki Otsutsuki versus Naruto versus Sasuke versus Boroshiki versus Kaoki, and then the crazy ending that we had, and then the mix in with my son Momoshiki popping up. Just to put the cherry on top, it's revealed that my son Code has this new type of karma seal, apparently a white karma seal, you know, that doesn't give you the DNA of the Otsutsuki, rather it gives you the ability to transform yourself, your body, into a whole brand new form of Otsutsuki. So essentially it's just pure power, what Ishiki tells Code. How about all of that stuff I just named, and then there's still more that just keeps on going, you know, the death of my son Kurama, he's out of there, and then the loss of my guy Sasuke's Rinnegan. And currently where Naruto and Sasuke stand, without a shadow of a doubt, it should be clear to most people's mind, which it still isn't. Naruto and Sasuke are still the strongest ninjas in the 5 great ninjas. That's how strong they are. You know, with these major power debuffs, most people would like automatically go into a frantic and just be like, yo, what they finna do? My son Sasuke can't do nothing. He don't got no Rinnegan, you know. But then you got the same people probably like 4 or 5 months ago that says, man, this damn Rinnegan's always making Sasuke out of chakra. Now Sasuke doesn't have his Rinnegan. Now with Sasuke particularly clear, I'm just gonna state the fact that yes, the Rinnegan is gone. I don't know for 100% fact if the writer's gonna go with that, because you know he did say it was useless last chapter, but I don't know useless in the instant or for that time being, but whatever, until we get further implications on it. Right now that shit is out of there, gone with the wind. Now we know my son Kurama is gone, he's dead. He said his goodbyes to Naruto. They had the heartfelt moment last chapter, and now where we're standing at with Naruto and Sasuke is their sage modes. Well, with Naruto only because we understand Sasuke never really achieved sage mode, and Sasuke's eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Now you already know your boy Black Uchiha, so Sasuke is a little less controversial, especially in the Twitter community, in terms of where he stands at power-wise, because a lot of people are trying to figure out what's really going down with my man Naruto. So we're going to save that for later on in the video. But with Sasuke, let's just talk about in terms of Sasuke. Sasuke back when he was 16 years old and the type of damage he was going to be. Honestly, I can keep it short and sweet when it comes to my man Sasuke. Like, who was seeing Sasuke back then? Like, come on, man. Now, regular Mangekyo Sharingan Sasuke, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe 5 Kage Sasuke, that was regular Mangekyo Sharingan. That was before you even had the EMS. As much as people could say, you know, that this and that occurred, this and that and the other, it's not too many niggas back then who could have just stormed the 5 Kage Summit and walked out alive. Now, no matter how many times he got his life saved, at the end of the day, he did what he had to do. You know, they couldn't, when they had the opportunity, it wasn't there fully. They didn't go through with it. You know what I'm saying? Now, the closest was the Shizukage. He almost dismantled my guy. So that was really like on some, all right, he really should have been dead. But let's give it to my son Sasuke right there. He was spazzing out and he was already bugging out. He didn't even know the true effects of overusing the Mangekyo Sharingan like that. He was like, you know what, fuck it. I got a half body Susanoo. You know, I can summon some black flames. I'm ready to do some damage. Where's my guy Danzo at, right? And then we get EMS Sasuke later on. He joins the war after he's getting Itachi's eyes implanted in him. And then you see the automatic buff that EMS granted Sasuke. It wasn't until when Naruto and Sasuke were both on the path of death, where they both had those 6 paths power-ups, and then everything just starts going wonky from then on with Sasuke's Rinnegan being implemented. But let's look at what Sasuke is able to do currently, or should I say versus Boroshiki. He whipped out Amaterasu, you know what I'm saying? He whipped out a strong-ass lightning jutsu. He whipped out a fire-style jutsu. It was low-key off of him saying, because he was like, yo, bro, I need to be careful and not run out of chakra. And then he started to proceed to do all of those things. So we can see how they're kind of trying to handle the balance, because ever since Sasuke had his Rinnegan, he hasn't been as deep in his bag as we know he could be. Even with the Rinnegan, his 6 paths powers that he could have used, like the 6 paths of pain, he wasn't really as deep inside of those. You know, he would have did like a planetary devastation. We've seen him do that in the manga and anime, but you know, he wasn't as deep in his bag. My son Sasuke, EMS Sasuke, he was doing fireball jutsus from the Susanoo. He was shooting Amaterasu flame arrows. He still has the flame control, so let's not forget about that. The Rinnegan, really all the Rinnegan did was, other than the basic power amp and buff with speed and strength that it gave Sasuke, it allowed him the teleportation jutsu between this time space, which actually is handy, despite the fact that it took most of his chakra every time he used it. And the ability to swap places in an instant, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little salty that he won't be able to do that no more. Cause son, he started spamming that as soon as he got it back in the 4th grade Ninja War. He pulled up a Madara like, yo, I'm here, I'm there. What are you talking about, boy? So I ain't gonna lie, I'm a little upset that that ability is gone. But for the most part, if you look at Sasuke's current standing, who back then was able to fight at least on par with the, you know, EMS Sasuke? Now, EMS Sasuke at the time, he had his matchup was against KCM2 Naruto. Now, obviously Kurama's dead, so there's no, you know what I'm saying, discussing that match. KCM2 Naruto was on a par to where he was fading Obito, Tentail's Obito, but then it came to a point where Sasuke was fading Tentail's Obito, and then he realized, well, shit, I need a little bit more oomph. And it wasn't necessarily for the fact that Sasuke couldn't keep up with the fight or the battle. It was the mere fact that Sage Jutsu was the only thing that'll work on the Otsutsuki, in that case, Obito at the time. So when he gained the Sage Jutsu from Yugo, you see it was really no trouble at all keeping up with KCM2 Naruto and his full body Susanoo. So you see how adept this man Sasuke can be. Now, who's to say, like, it's not forbidden for my guy Sasuke to suddenly learn Snake Sage Jutsu or some type of Sage Jutsu. Like, who's gonna hold a kunai to his neck and say, you better not learn some Sage Jutsu? So it's not far-fetched to say, if you give EMS Sasuke, currently adult EMS Sasuke, Sage Jutsu, other than the fact the space-time teleportation, hey, he can still call his body in lightning, which is what he originally does in the first place to match speed of KCM2 6 paths Naruto. So that's not the Rinnegan right there. That's him coding his body in lightning. That ability is not taken away from Sasuke. And as y'all can see, Sasuke is really in a little bit more of a clear boat than Naruto, because he has all of that shit to reach into. When we come into verses, like, would you see characters like Kashin Koji, Delta, and Code? I'm not gonna count Code because he got a Karma Soul right now, and we not even gonna just start confusing people's heads. But like Delta and Kashin Koji, you know, Rinnegan Sasuke, it wasn't even a question. Like, yeah, I feel like Kashin Koji probably could hang with him, but low diff, you know what I'm saying? Now EMS, but you give him Sage Mode still, I would give it mid diff at the highest. I mean, Delta was able to give 6 paths Naruto KCM2 suppressed a run for his money, but she was like going dummy, and she even had to use like tricks and advantages, like using Himawari at a disadvantage and stuff like that in order to throw Naruto off guard, and Naruto was still holding back. Like, you can't do that. And against a character like Sasuke, there's no such thing as like trying to get one up on him as much as it is with Naruto, because all the opponents they faced so far already stated, man, this guy Sasuke is the dangerous one. Sasuke, you need to be taken out because he's too legit. Even Boroshiki had to fight that type of nerf Sasuke on, you know, a careful footing, because he was like, I would definitely not leave this battle uninjured if I just walk up into this shit, just because my man Sasuke lost his Rinnegan. Now, when it comes to terms of Naruto, I already stated what my standing was in the last video, right? Initially, my thought is like, bro, you know, it's just Kurama. He could still use the 6 fast powers. He could still use the other 8 Biju power. And then my thoughts and my mind started giving me a little bit of controversy, because I'm like, well, Hagoromo, the Sage of 6 Paths, did state that, you know, Kurama would have stayed with Naruto after the 4th grade Ninja War, you know, as a link for the meeting place between Kurama and the other 8 Biju and necessarily Naruto, in order for them to be able to, you know, all stay in contact and stay in touch. That was essentially Kurama's role inside of Naruto. With Kurama being dead, does that automatically take away the access to the 8 Biju, which most likely would make sense to me? Now, when Hagoromo gave Naruto this power, we know the 6 paths power, 6 paths Sage Mode automatically gives Naruto the cross eyelids like he's in KCM mode. but it's not necessarily the KCM chakra mode. When he first had this power and he activated it versus Madara, he didn't have Kurama's power stacked on top of it, and that was when he kicked the truth seeking orb and saved God's life. And y'all see how my son was looking, right? He was looking clean, and then he even whipped out a lava style Rasengan, and that was from the whatever Biju he had. You know, I believe the lava style is the Four Tails or some shit like that, correct me if I'm wrong, to do, right? And that was all that without Kurama's chakra, but with him being granted the 6 paths power. Now, with Kurama serving as the link, that's where the shit goes iffy, because I see people saying, well, Naruto still has access to the other 8 Biju, you know what I'm saying? He still has the 6 path Sage mode, and then he still has regular Sage mode. Regular Sage mode Naruto is like, I'm not even discussing how strong, because like at the end of the day, you take away all that shit and you just do regular Sage mode adult Naruto. What makes you think you would have any type of opportunity? First of all, nobody was seeing pain back then. Nobody was seeing pain, and I don't want to hear none of that nonsense, right? So if Naruto's folding pain in his Sage mode, what makes you think a 30-year-old Naruto, more advanced, more experienced, with dummy battles against Otsutsuki gods, enhanced like heightened sensory abilities, you know what I'm saying? What makes you think anybody could still run up on him? Now, it's just the question of, is the 6 paths abilities going to be available for my guy or not, right? Because that'll make a whole type of game changer, low key. Because at this point, I would say, you know, in the past, teenage EMS Sasuke and teenage regular Sage mode Naruto, you say they're a little bit even, but if you give Naruto that KCM 1 stacked on top, even KCM 2 stacked on top, that's when Naruto like shoots through the roof, and just there's nothing Sasuke can do with his EMS. Now, current day wise, in that terms, like I feel like this EMS Sasuke would be able to match, you know, a powered up KCM2, no 6 paths, but KCM2, you know, Sage mode Naruto, if they were in adult form, because of the abilities and experiences that both obviously Naruto has gained some, but that Sasuke has. Now y'all gotta understand, the way Sasuke is already at a disadvantage against Naruto. Even when they had the 6 paths and the Rinnegan abilities, there was always something Sasuke had to do in order to cope with, you know, a slight disadvantage. So like I said earlier in the video, he coats his body in lightning in order to match his Naruto's speed, because, you know, barefooted, he's not as fast as Naruto, but when he does that, he's able to be as fast as Naruto. So Sasuke has ways to level the playing field. Now, all of that really, in general, doesn't really matter because Kurama isn't here. Now, going back to saying just regular Sage mode Naruto, does he have the ability to still access that 6 path Sage mode with Kurama going as the 6 path link? It's not exactly clear. Now, I'm falling more in the gray area, but I'm still saying, like, I would, if they were to even to still find some type of way to make their way through it, I believe they would go as far as to giving Naruto a 6 path Sage mode, you know, meaning if he were to enter Sage mode, his eyes probably might still be crossed for all I know, because we know if his the difference between Sage mode and the 6 path Sage mode is the toe pigmentations across Naruto's eyes. Now, I can see a possibility where Naruto enters a 6 path Sage mode, but still doesn't have access to the other 8 Biju, because at the end of the day, that wouldn't make sense if Kurama is serving as the link, you know, whether as be just for communication or power wise for Naruto being able to tap into all of that chakra. That's what they have to exactly make clear. Now, I really hope, my hope is, now I'm not trying to take anything away from my guy Code, whatever he has going on next chapter, but I really hope that they're gonna dive into like the current standing of Naruto and Sasuke, where Shikamaru says, well, what are we gonna do without Kurama and without the Rinnegan? And Naruto will be like, yo, hold the fuck up. First of all, my son Sasuke still got full body perfect Susanoo, and I still got a Sage mode and 6 path Sage mode. I hope some shit like that goes down. If that goes down, I'm gonna be more than happy. But at the end of the day, you know, 6 path Sage mode or even regular perfect Sage mode, Naruto is still bodying the rest of the 5 great nations. So that's where they both currently stand. Now, if y'all have any different ideas or any thoughts of the power scaling currently with Naruto and Sasuke, obviously, by all means, let me know your thoughts in the video below. How are they gonna go about the direction with next chapter? Are y'all really excited to learn? Basically, you know, at the end of the day, they did all of this to allow, you know, some type of room for Boruto and said group like the next generation in order to develop and not seem like a bullshit way, when obviously the MC is going to have to be one of, if not the strongest character in his own show. So, you know, you can't just have bullshit like this, like where Boruto just surpasses the 6 path Sage mode KCM2 Naruto, and you know what I'm saying, a fucking 6 path Rinnegan 6 Tomo EMS full body perfect Susanoo Sasuke. So, you know, it will make a little bit more sense currently right now as it stands, but even currently right now as it stands, nobody's seeing these even in a 1v1. Who's touching Sasuke right now? Nobody. Now, I'm not even finna say, like, even including card members, I'm a little skeptical. But even you throwing Kashin Koji, you throwing Delta, them nigga, like, all right, let's be, since we're still fresh on it, I'm gonna say mid to low high diff. Definitely Sasuke's bodying Kashin Koji. I'm talking about even if he uses Sage Mode and he's bodying Delta. Mid to high low diff. Now, like, Sasuke's not finna get caught off guard with that whole little laser eye shit. Once he catches that one time with Delta, he already know what's going down. Delta, she's a fucking walking punching bag. All she's gonna do is try to overpower Sasuke, and Sasuke's been fighting Naruto all his life, so he knows how to deal with that, right? Y'all thoughts on the video? How do y'all feel like where currently Naruto stands at and currently where Sasuke stands at in the ninja world? Are y'all excited for Boruto chapter 56? And until my next video, it's your boy Black and Chill 3. Holla at your boy. I'ma holla at y'all. Black and Chill out. Yes, sir.
Hey, can we take a trip to the sky? Show them that our limit's too high. Cocoa butter hips on the waistline. She said